The views and opinions expressed by guests on So This Is Love are solely their own and do not necessarily reflect the official position of the podcast or the interviewer. A trigger warning to our listeners today: this episode contains depictions of domestic violence. Listener discretion is advised. If you or anyone else is affected by these issues, please find support in the show notes of this episode. Hello, everybody. This is Jules. Welcome back to So This Is Love. A quick note to our listeners: if you would like to support this podcast, you can do so via our till number or PayPal. All the details are in the description box of this episode. Your contribution is what will keep us going. To my guests, who have so openly shared their stories of healing, reflection, and triumph, thank you for allowing us to grow through your journey. Remember, you can find us on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. And if you haven't already, do subscribe, as it does help us reach more people. So This Is Love is a space where people can relate to one another, learn from one another, and find a sense of belonging. Enjoy. Coming up on So This Is Love.
And he's like, you know what, that's fine. Then he started, it feels like you can't take leadership from a man. And I was like, okay, so I can't take leadership because I'm telling you of the tone we set for this relationship and you are going against the tone. So now I'm telling you about it, and now it comes, I'm the one who cannot take leadership from a man.
Welcome to So This Is Love, a podcast about love, the loss of love, heartbreak, and the meeting of self. We share stories on how the relationships we once had teach us about who we are and define who we become. And maybe through these stories, we can answer that age-old question: is it better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all? So, this is love. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of So This Is Love. Today, I am joined by the sweet and soft-spoken Sophia, not her real name, and she'll be here to tell us about a very defining relationship in her life with a man that we'll be calling today Bumpy, also not his real name. The reason that Sophia has come here today to share this story is because this is a relationship that was very defining for her. It's one that happened while she was quite young, and I must say she's still very quite young. And it's one of those relationships that even when I was just hearing the highlights of what went on in it, was that she was far too young to have experienced the kind of intensity. I don't want to give spoilers, but the kind of intensity of the stuff that was going on. And in her own words, Sophia says that she felt like she was just too young to be going through all that. And the reason that she really wants to share this story with us here today is because she wants to be able to allow other women to be able to identify the telltale signs of a relationship that is toxic, abusive, and especially one where there is a power dynamic at play that essentially in the end put her at a disadvantage. And as we get deeper into the story, I think you'll be able to kind of understand what we're talking about. So welcome, Sophia.
Thank you, Jules.
How do you feel to be here today?
A bit nervous, of course, but happy.
Happy? Yeah, I know we met somewhere out there in the world.
Yes.
At an event, and you came up to me and I was like, we spoke for a little bit and I was like, oh my God, how old are you? You what happened? So first of all, thank you for having the balls to come up to me. That event was it was a very kind of star-studded situation. Even me, I was like, hey, uku sasa ni wapi?
I know.
So thanks for coming up to say hello. You've joined my table and it was lovely to meet you. So I'd like you to, take your time as you're taking us through this narration. If at any time you need to take a break, we can take a break. And I'm going to start this episode with the same question that I ask all my guests. Take us to the beginning. How did you and Bumpy meet?
Bumpy and I coincidentally met at a smocha stand. I was very new to the area where we met. So at the time, I was a waitress. So I was very new. It was the first time we moved there. It was my first time having a shift that I needed to clock in at night. So I was able to explore the area during the day. And this specific stand where we met, I'd go by my smoochers there a lot of times. I'd see him on and off. But since I was always so tired, I'd just buy what I'm buying, talking to the guy who sells my smoochers, and then go back home.
What's a smoocher? Is it a smoky? I'm a bit confused.
A smoocher is a combination of a chapati and a smoky. It's put together. Yeah. So this one specific day, as I was a waitress, I was also still a student. So this one time I needed to write assignment for school. My laptop crashed. So the only person I knew in the area at that time was the smoocher selling guy. So I go to him and I'm like, I need a laptop. I need to write reports and I'll bring your laptop back in 3 hours max. He's like, cool, but my laptop is very old. Word does not work and all that. So I was like, okay, that can't help. So Bumpy was there when I was asking for a laptop. So when my smoocher guy said he doesn't have, I was just like, let me figure it out. So I started walking away. Bumpy followed me, he tapped my shoulder. He's like, I've seen you around. I can help you with a laptop. I was like, perfect. I promise I'll get it back in 3 hours, tops. He's like, sure. He walks me to my gate. He's like, let me walk you to your gate, see where you stay, and then I can go home, grab my laptop, and then bring it back. So let me get your number. So instead of just knocking the gate, I just call you and then you can come out. I was like, sure. That's what happened. He gave me the laptop. He's like, this laptop, I don't even use it. It just stays in the house. So what you'll do is just use it until you're able to fix your own laptop. And I was like, sure. He would text. But since our schedules were very different, me being a waitress and a student, and him being someone who works an 8 to 5, the dynamics of communication aren't working, like probably to his favor. So on days I'm off shift or on offs is when we'd communicate, which was okay because I was not really interested in him. And then on meeting him, I was pregnant and I was very young. I was 20. So I explained to him on one day, I think 3 weeks later, we've spoken. I now told him I need to bring your laptop back. I fixed my laptop, so I'm good. Thank you. So we meet after work. I was off. He's off work. So he comes in a suit, fully dressed. He looked so nice. I was so impressed. I was just like, wow, he looks very nice. And then my mind just clicked. You think he looks nice and you're pregnant. And then at the time I was pregnant, the person who impregnated me didn't want the pregnancy. So I was just with it, like it's me in this pregnancy. So my mind is just like snapped back into reality. So I looked at him, I was like, okay, you look nice, but thank you. We talked, we stood outside the gate, we talked for like 20 minutes, and I went back to the house. So at this time I'm staying with my mom, of course. My mom was a bit bitter, of course, because I'm 20, I'm pregnant, I'm juggling waitressing and school. So she wasn't happy that she'd see me, of course, talking to another man, because in her head, as an African mom, she's just thinking, hey, you've not even finished the first one, now you're into another one, surely. So I got home on this specific day and my mom is furious. She's like, why are you talking to men? And I'm like, chill. It's just I was returning the laptop that was helping me doing my assignments as I fixed mine. She's like, okay. But we still continued talking with Bumpy. So we kept tabs here, there, which was okay. I didn't mind it. It would be memes, nothing that would make me like keep quiet or ghost him. So we'd exchange memes, we'd laugh, we'd share reels, and always on WhatsApp. I remember him having a car. So this one time, I wanted to go to the clinic because I was pregnant. So it's my first time going to the clinic. I was nervous. And Bumpy had told me that he had a daughter. So before telling him I was pregnant, he had already told me I have a daughter. She's the apple of my eye. She's the reason I live, breathe, and all that. And I was like, that's nice. So on this day, I wanted to go to the clinic. Bumpy was the first person I thought to call because he had a child. So I was just like, he's gone through this, so it would be easy for him to understand me, which he did. He didn't even ask a question. He immediately just asked, what time do you want to go? Where do you want to go? And I was explaining, I just want to go for a checkup, and that's it. This day was specifically my off day, but I had classes. So I went for my classes, and then we met. He picked me up in his car comfortably, and we went to the hospital. I paid for my checkup and everything. And he was okay with it. I checked how far along I was. The doctors asked me what I would want because considering my age, they knew, of course, it would be a struggle. So it was either I keep it or get rid of it. I told the doctors I haven't decided. So the doctors were like, you have like just 1 more month until you decide, because after a month, you just have to keep the baby. I was like...
Were you visibly pregnant at that point? Not yet?
Not yet.
How far along?
At the time when I went for clinic, I was about 2.5 months in. Yeah. So it was not even visible at all. Yeah. And Bumpy was with me in every room that I went in. He'd hold my hand. He'd like tell me, you know what, it's going to be okay. Whatever you decide, nobody's judging you and you'll be fine. I'll walk with you through this. I've experienced this, so I know firsthand what you're feeling. I felt very comforted, very comforted. At the time, all my instincts were to get rid of it. I was 20. If anything happened, I wouldn't be able to raise this child on my own. I wouldn't. Even if I tried how hard at that time, I wouldn't. So after a while, I decided to get a procedure done and I terminated the pregnancy. It was the appropriate thing to do at that time. So that's what I did. All through, Bumpy was with me. During the day that I went, the days after, even after work, he'd try and pop by at the gate just to say hi, see me. And for some reason, he'd always bring me fruits. So I'd go to the gate, see Bumpy. Then when I go back to the house, my mom would always ask me, where have you gotten the fruits from? And I'm like, just outside here, I met somebody, like a friend of mine. She has given me the fruits. And every time I had to ensure that my mom knew it was a girl, because if she found out it was a guy, she would be very uneasy. So that's how it went for a long time. And after the whole termination, we got very, very close because he'd talk to me about work, my waitressing job. He'd talk to me about school. He'd help me with assignments. And then at the same time, when we were just very new together with Bumpy, I started doing... So at that point, I was being trained. It was going good. But now it was a load added on to the waitressing I have in school. So Bumpy would come in very handy when I've done training and I was told to write reports. He'd handle it. Like I'd just dictate what he'd write and he'd type it and I'd be done, which for me was amazing. So my mom found out that me and Bumpy are close. My mom was against it. She's like, no, you've just gone through one thing. Get time. Just be in your 20s. Learn about what you are in your 20s. What do you want to be? The things. Make money. Go out. The likes. That's what she was all about. So she was very not happy about the idea of me and Bumpy being close. And then at that time, my mom would look at Bumpy and she'd be like, he also looks very old. Yeah? Sophia, he looks very, very old. So ensure that whatever is going on is something that you're sure you're ready for. At that time, I'm not even sure about anything. I'm just enjoying this person because they'll write my reports. They're there when I want them to be. So it was okay on my end. So with time, we eventually started dating. A month or two later after. And it started very nicely. Very, very nicely. He had a car, so we'd go out for rides. And Since I loved car rides, I liked food. That's what we'd do. We'd buy takeout, pizza, chicken, and then in the car, a ride. And that would be an ideal date for me. And that would be an ideal date for me. And it worked very well. He'd tell me about the struggles he's having with his baby mama, how he misses his daughter because he wasn't able to see the daughter often. So I'd sympathize with him and be like a shoulder to lean on. Then eventually, we started being intimate. So being intimate with him meant on days that I was from work, I'd have to lie to my mom. So I'd call my mom and I'm like, Mom, I can't get a matatu back home. I'll just spend the night at my friend's place. And my mom trusted me. She's like, okay, that's fine. No problem. The whole time, that just meant that in the morning I've packed an extra cloth, folded it very well to fit in my bag so that my mom does not notice my bag is larger than usual. Spend at his place, do our stuff, enjoy the night, watch a movie, eat and all. And then in the morning he'd drop me off at work or at school, depending on what was needed. And that worked very well. So 3-4 months into the relationship, issues with the baby mama from his end started rising and rising fast and heavy. We moved from being in our honeymoon to the baby mama texting me in a span of very short time. At that time, she'd text me with entitlement, for lack of a better word, because she knew she was the baby mama and she knew that this man had vowed to marry her. So in her eyes, I was like this bug that is coming to destroy their nice relationship, their nice parenthood that they're doing together. And every time I take the story back to Bumpy, it would be, no, she's dramatic. She already knows that nothing can happen and the likes. Me being my first time in such a dynamic, I was just like, you know what, it's okay. I'd take his word because he's the one who's here with me and I get to see him every day. So I trusted his word and took it blindly. So even if she'd text me, I'd have no problem because she's texting me and maybe I've spent the night in his house and she's texting me, I spent the night at his house yesterday and I'm like, I was with him during the day. So I was just like, you know what, it's okay. So we had that baby mama issue going for a while, for about 2 months or 3. And then one specific day, it became, I need time. And I'm like, you just can't come to me and ask me for time. What's the time for? It's like there are issues between me and my baby mama. And now she's saying that I'll not be able to see my child. And I asked why. What is it you did? Because she wouldn't just wake up and say that you're not going to see the child. There has to be like a backstory. There has to be something. She's like, no, it's because of you. I'm like, okay, what about me has made your baby mama not allow you to see your child? He goes like, you spend the nights over, you leave your clothes, I don't hide your clothes when they come off, drop the baby. And I'm like, who's we? Who's dropping the child? Like, at times she comes, drops the child and cooks. And I'm like, cooks in your house? I'm like, okay. But initially you told me always go out to get your child from their house. What changed? He goes like, no, there are times I'm busy, so she'll just drop my daughter over before I get home and I'll find she has cooked. Then he'd say she's cooked because, of course, that food will also be eaten by the daughter and she knows I won't have time when I get home. And if you listen to it, you're like, that's like logic sense. So I'm like, okay, no harm done. Because I'm thinking about it, I'm like, he's not home. She came, she dropped the daughter, cooked while he was not home. So nothing could have happened. That was fine. After a while, it got to a point that I would not see him on weekends at all. Why? Because it was time with his daughter. I understood it. I was like, you know what, that's fine. So what got my attention and became a fight was the fact that as much as I could not see him, it means I could not see him, text him or call him. Why? Because he was spending time with the daughter. And I'm like, so while you're doing this, you're not with your phone, or what's going on? Why can't you be texted or called? What's the reason? He's like, no, I don't like using my phone when my daughter is around because she might think I'm not giving her quality time and attention. I was like, okay, that's fine. So during the weekends, I'd do my own stuff. I'd just engage myself in my assignments, take more shifts at work just to cover up the time. That became our routine, and I was okay with that. Then eventually it now became, I couldn't now go to his house. I'm like, why? It's like, no, my daughter is going to school and coming back, and she'll be in my house for a while. I'm like, but you said the mom does not allow the daughter to spend more than a weekend in your house. What happened? It's like, no, the dynamics changed. She's gotten busy. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. So I understood. So with time, the evenings were out. I wouldn't spend at his house. So instead, what he'd do, he'd come see me back kwa gate. So he'd come, call, say like, I'm outside here. So I'd sit somewhere on a stone, chat for hours and hours, and then he'd go back home. And I'd always ask, okay, since your daughter is home, who helps her with homework, who gets her ready, like unwinds her from the day and all? Or is she able to do that? She's like, yeah, she's old enough, she can do that. Then when I come, I'll just cook something light and then call it a night. I was like, that works. Then eventually it moved to, he wouldn't be answering my calls as he used to. So in a day, I'd call like 3-4 times. No answer. I'd call. When I'm free, no answer. And then at Gioni, after work, it's like, oh, I've been swamped with meetings. I've been moving around with my boss and the like. So I didn't have time on my phone. And I'm like, oh. So you didn't have like 2 minutes out of your day just to text me and tell me that it's a busy day? Because that's what you've been doing. So why the change from the foundation we created on communication? It's like, no, I'm sorry, it won't happen again. Yeah, that was a lie. It did, in fact, happen and became a routine. To the point where now, if I called way too many times, he'd block me. So he'd be like, you're really distracting me from work. You're calling way too many times. And I need to concentrate and focus on work. And I'm like, how would I know you're having a busy day? You've not told me. You're not communicating to me. Day 1 has gone. Day 2 is when you're talking to me during the day. And it's a phone call that will last like 10 minutes. And you expect me to just be okay with that. So we started having fights. And in the fights, the baby mama also started having fights with me. And then at this time, I'm young. And the baby mama is not also of my age. We also have a gap. So I'm like, hata nikiongea vibaya, nothing will happen. You see.
So how old was he? Because you said you were around 20?
I was around 20. He was around 31. So I wasn't bothered. I'd talk back with the baby mama especially because she also would come talking very bad and I'll be like, you know what? Let's play this game. So she talks, I talks. She talks, I talks. That's how it went. So I'm fighting with the baby mama. I'm also fighting with Bumpy. And in my head, I'm just like, you know what? This guy seemed like a very nice guy, someone who understood me, helped out with work. He made my load of life easy. But it's not working out because I can't continuously be begging just to be communicated to and the likes. So with time, I had Bumpy and I still were entertaining other people. But my mind was solely focused and I was always crossing my fingers just for Bumpy to realize that this is what he wanted. So from that specific point, I started continuously begging and begging. So I begged to be communicated to. I begged for him to come see me. I begged him to talk to the baby mama to stop talking to me rudely. But nothing happened. Actually, in fact, instead of him talking to the baby mama to stop talking rudely to me, he'd summon me for talking to the baby mama rudely. And I'm like, wow, didn't she tell you what she said? And I was replying to this. She's like, it doesn't matter. That's the mother of my child. And I'm like, wow. So are you with the mother of your child because you're way too defensive? Or do you want to move on and be with me? He's like, I am with you. I am dating you. I'm not seeing anybody else. And I'm like, The last time I checked, people who are dating actually communicate visually. Like, your communication is whack. It literally feels like I'm begging you to communicate with me, which is not what I want, which is not what we were. So, no. And he's like, you know what? That's fine. And he started, it feels like you can't take leadership from a man. And I was like, okay. So I can't take leadership because I'm telling you of the tone we set for this relationship and you are going against the tone. So now I'm telling you about it and now it becomes I'm the one who cannot take leadership from a man. And it was okay. And we broke up for, I think, a month. Then, because we lived in the same area, we bumped into each other, of course. So at this time, we've bumped into each other. I've stopped waitressing. I'm now finished training and now I'm working and then I'm still schooling now. So he didn't know any of it. So when we bumped into each other at home, he asked me, how is waitressing? How is the training? And I'm like, I stopped waitressing. I finished training as well. And now I'm an assistant and I'm schooling. He's like, oh, nice, congratulations. And he's like, actually, I was about to call you. I was like, why? He's like, no, I'm sorry about what I said earlier. And I realized that I was the one who was wrong. And I'm like, okay, that's good. Then I asked, what do you want? You're about to call me. Is that what you wanted to say? He's like, no, I had more, but I want you to come home as I cook for you dinner, and then we can talk more. And I'm like, no, it's late. One, you're telling me about this late, so I need to go home. My mom is home. My mom is waiting. If this is what you wanted, I'm sure you'd have communicated a bit earlier. That was that. We got back together. Things were looking good until one day I decided to check his phone. I checked his phone and I saw way too many things. I saw way too many bodies that I was not supposed to see. I saw way too many conversations that I was not supposed to see. And I did not know it was capable for a man to talk to that many women at a time. My brain could not fathom it. He was talking to the baby mama and other women who he told me were workmates, which, yes, some of them were his trainees. It made no sense. But on asking him, he said that was him looking for his next person, since he thought that we would not work out or we would not rekindle what we had. And I was like, okay, since we have, I want them deleted. And I stood there. I want you to delete every picture, every contact, and every conversation. I want you to start afresh from a clean slate. And he's like, sure. He deleted everything and I saw him delete them. But 2 weeks later, all those conversations were back from where they left off. And he just told these people that he was called in for work to travel. And it was busy and now he's back and they can't pick it off. And they all did very well. No questions asked, no nothing. At that point, things at home with my mom were also very rocky and shaky, and my job was doing well. So what I decided to do is I decided to move. So on this day that I decided to move was not because things were rocky at home. Okay, it was part of the reasons, but the main reason was one day my mom woke up and decided to go to Bumpy's house on her own. In Bumpy's house, my mom met Bumpy's mother as well. So a few weeks prior to that, I was unwell and I was in hospital. But Bumpy had said that he was somewhere working and he could not get to me in time. So I understood, but my mom did not understand because she was like, you're dating somebody who you've told you in hospital and they could not drop work to come over. It makes no sense. So to her, it was like a red flag. But to me, I was understanding. So on this specific day, the thing that prompted my mom to go to Bumpy's house was the fact that I was out of hospital. I was due for exams, so I needed to go get a student card that would allow me to enter and go back to do my exams. I was still not 100, but I had to do it on that day because that was the deadline. So I went. And I had told Bumpy about it and asked Bumpy, would you take me on your way to work? He's like, sure. So on that day, we've left the house with my mom, walking towards the stage. My mom sees me as I enter Bumpy's car. Remember, Bumpy did not see me in hospital, but suddenly I'm out of hospital and he's shown up. He's suddenly reliable and available. My mom could not fathom. So I've gone. I needed to be back at the house at 1 because I needed to take my medicine. So I went, was back at 1. By the time I'm back, I am calling Bumpy to explain to him how excited I am because I've gotten the card. I've also gone to school. I've confirmed everything. He's not picking up. He knows how excited I was in the morning when we were going. So it wasn't making sense. Why would he not answer my call? That day comes, and I'm back home at 1. At 2, the baby mama is on my case, sending me a paragraph. Oh, this man says the way you're trash. He's giving you breadcrumbs and you're accepting it. She goes on, and she insults me. You are a hoe. And then at that time, I was very, very, very petite. I was literally underweight. So the baby mama is like, you need to go to the gym, work out, focus on getting a body, getting an ass that people can turn and look at. You're here focusing on men that we have built, we have given children to, and you're here thinking that they can be your man. And I was like, wow, okay. So I'm calling Bumpy endlessly because of what the baby mama has told me. Bumpy did not answer a single call, a single text, a single voice, nothing. In the evening, I'm like, you know what, I'll walk to Bumpy's house. I know by now he's in the house. I go and I knock the door. The mom sees me and goes hysterical.
Did he live with his mother?
They lived in the same compound. From how loud she's talking, and considering she's a very soft-spoken woman, Bumpy came out. Bumpy sees me. Bumpy's like, get out. And I'm like, why? What did I do that was wrong? Like, your mother was here insulting my mother, and you have the guts to show up. And I'm like, when? I just left with you in the morning. I was home at 1. I've been calling you since then. When did she have the time to come here? The mom is like, maybe she doesn't know. And I'm like, I look clueless. Of course I don't. The mom is like, maybe she doesn't know. And I'm like, I look clueless. Of course I don't. If I did, I don't think I'd be here with all these balls. The mom calms down enough to tell me, your mom was here. She came, spoke to me very rudely, insulted me and all. And I was like, what? She's like, yes. And Mama Bumpy is like, your mom is very disrespectful, and I also expect the same from you. And I'm like, why would you expect me to be disrespectful? Because my mom was. Like, because you're raised by a single mom, those cycles just go hand in hand. And I'm like, okay. And Bumpy is just standing, listening to what the mom is telling me. He doesn't step in, he doesn't stop the mom, he does nothing. The mom spoke to me, and then she went back to the house. Bumpy's like, you need to go. And I'm like, no, I'm not leaving here until you explain to me in detail what happened. Because you guys are telling me this story like surface level. I want to understand. And Bumpy tells me, I also don't know. I got home a few minutes ago. I was at home finishing up with a work call, and then I wanted to go back to my mom's house and check. And like be told and be given details. And I'm like, okay, so at this point, I've moved out from my mom's house, and I live in a nice, beautiful bedsitter that I loved. I had very, very few things, which was okay. At this time, I had given Bumpy money to buy me a laptop. He has not given me the laptop. My mom knows I gave Bumpy money to buy me a laptop because he has tech connections. So I wanted one genuine laptop, and I was sure that someone might knock me off or something. So the laptop had not come. My mom knows the laptop did not come. My mom cannot be convinced otherwise, other than Bumpy was just trying to shortcut me. I'm trying to explain to my mom, no, the delivery is just delayed. It'll be here. And my mom is like, no, these things you're saying do not even make sense. They do not add up. But I was not looking at it from my mom's view. I had my own view, and I was just trying to pull my mom into my view. So at that point, I remember the following day after being told that, I've gone home now from Bumpy's house. I've been told my mom was there. My mom knows the moment I lashed out like that, left the house and went. She just had this thought that I've gone to Bumpy's house. So I came back home and she's like, I forbid you from seeing that man again. And I'm like, how do you forbid someone from seeing someone? And I'm like, Mom, I'm old. You can't do that. I've gone to complain and complain and complain. We're not even having a productive conversation because we're all very mad, maybe at each other, and we're all raising our voice. So I'm like, you know what, this is fine. I storm out and I got back to my house. I'm there in my bedsitter and I'm thinking, why would my mom do such a thing? Like, it makes no sense. And in the morning, I texted Bumpy. I was going to work. I just texted him and I was like, I know now you want nothing to do with me, which is understandable. So I'd want you to pack my clothes and put them. There was an M-Pesa shop that was well known in our area. So I just told him, pack my clothes, shoes, anything, books, anything, my materials that I might left there for work or anything, pack them and put them in that M-Pesa shop. He's like, okay. So I asked him, what about my laptop? He's like, you know what, with your laptop, let me even just call the dealers right now and we'll figure it out. So we did figure out the story of the laptop, got my laptop, and then on the day I was going to get the laptop, Bumpy tells me that he's not mad at me and he doesn't want us to end the relationship. Instead, what we will do is he's going to get a second wife. Yes. So I asked him, why are we getting a second wife? He's like, because already in my mom's eyes, you're disrespectful and so is your mom. So according to the mom, that's not a wife she would want the son to have. But since Bumpy does not want to let go of me, I should allow him to have a second wife.
Oh, wait, you're not the second wife?
No. So I'd allow him to have a second wife. So the second wife would be known as the first wife because the second wife is the one who would be introduced to the mom.
I'm so sorry, you lost me, Sophia. So the woman he's with, are we considering, I'm sorry, his baby mama?
Yeah.
Are we considering that the first wife?
No.
Okay.
The baby mama is just considered as the baby mama. So the baby mama is aside. So there's me and the person he wants to bring in. Yeah? I was like, no.
Wait, just explain to me the logic behind the wife thing.
The wife thing was, my mom already showed that she was disrespectful. So Bumpy's mom also assumes I'm also disrespectful. So Bumpy needs a wife that he can present to the mom as a new clean slate. And I was not that. So I was supposed to allow Bumpy to have another wife.
And then you come in as a second wife?
I was the first. Now the other one was coming in as the second, but will be considered the first because she's the only one introduced to the mom. So in turn, what would happen is I'd stay with Bumpy. Yes. I'd stay with Bumpy in the house, never be introduced to the parents, but we'd do life together as married people. And then the second one who comes in is introduced, the traditional things are done, and she'd also come live with us in the house. Yeah. So I was like, but if you want to be a polygamous man, that's not how it goes. She's like, no, you wouldn't know how polygamy goes because you don't have the traditional roots, so you wouldn't understand. And I was like, okay, you know what, makes sense. So I was like, you know what, let me think about it. This time we're still keeping tabs. One day he's like, I want you to look for a woman that we can have a threesome with so that you'll be able to understand the logic of the second wife and how the sexual part would go, the house rules and the chores. I was like, where am I supposed to start doing that? And he's like, but I always see you complimenting women. It could be that you're bisexual. And I'm like, women are beautiful people. Have you seen them? They're amazing. He's like, yeah, you'd only think like that because you're bi. So just maybe try it out on your own and then you'll figure it out.
Are you in a relationship with him at this point in time? where's the baby mama? And how comes she has this kind of agency over who he's talking to and the timings, and he can't have his phone on? Where is she at?
At that point, she never popped up. She was never an issue. She stopped texting. I don't know. She just, in regards to our relationship, she just vanished.
How did she know what she looked like?
She got my number from his phone because of how I was saved, and she checked the conversations. So I'm sure she just guessed according to how the conversations went. That's how she was able to get me. But at this point...
Had you met face to face?
No.
Okay.
I'd only seen photos of her. So I never know how she looked or anything about her. So at this point where Bumpy is telling me, per se, to get another woman so that we can have a threesome, she wasn't there anymore. The baby mama wasn't an issue as she was prior. So one day, specifically, Bumpy tells me that I want to take you out, and the role of us going out is for you to find another woman that you're going to be attracted to.
Can I just ask a question? Listen, I have no strong judgment on polygamy or polyamory. Do what you want to do. There are things I feel like maybe are not for me because I don't know how to do them. Yeah. I don't have the skill set or maybe the emotional bandwidth. So I'm just curious for you. Is this something that was not out of the norm for you? Did you maybe grow up seeing this kind of dynamic or polygamy? And why was it almost like an easy sell? Why were you able to be won over? Like, okay, maybe it's something I'd consider.
It wasn't something I'd ever seen, ever. The way I knew polygamy to run and the way he wanted it was something I had never seen, ever.
Did he come from a polygamous home? Or maybe a religion that leaned towards polygamy?
No. Not at all. He keeps saying he was, but no, not that I saw. But so that happened. And the reason it was easy for me to be sold into it's because every time he kept telling me, you don't want to lose me, right? And I'm like, yeah, of course I wouldn't. Then do the things that I would want or I need to be a happy man. And he'd always go about, if you don't do it, if I'm not getting the woman from you, I'll eventually go out and get the woman for myself. And I'm like, but if you go get the woman for yourself, that's cheating because it means you have to date them, court them and all that. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, so do I get to know about it? Like, no, because you were given the opportunity, but you didn't do it. So I'm like, oh. So I have to choose between getting this woman and just letting him get one. Me being me, I was always on Tinder looking for women. Like my bio was looking for women for threesomes. That was my bio. And women would flood in my DM.
Interesting.
They would flood my DM.
Oh my God, really?
Yes.
Real women or like bots? Or...
No, women that would give me their numbers.
You know what? That's kind of... I'm a bit disturbed, but at the same time, I'm like, wow, like, go women. That's pretty...
Yeah.
Yo, that's wild. Yeah. Okay.
So they'd always flood
and Tinder, women. You said?
Yeah.
Yikes.
So they'd always just see my bio and all send photos and their phone number. Photos and phone number. So it was easy. So the moment I first got one, I took just one number from Tinder. The conversation was simple. I didn't even need to sell anything. I was just like, are you available this weekend? Because I'm off this weekend. My man is off. Are you available? Can I have a threesome and see how it goes? Everybody was just like, yes. It's the first one I had and I was like, oh, interesting. So we had the first threesome. My first thought was like, oh, fuck. This is not okay. It doesn't feel okay with me because a threesome, I have to participate. And then there's a point I have to wait as the other woman and Bumpy are intimate. And then she also has to wait as Bumpy and I are intimate. And then Bumpy has to wait as me and the other woman are intimate. And it just didn't sit well. I was shaky. And Bumpy seemed easy about it. He was right into character. And immediately in all the women we had, he would always want to ask, are you okay if you spend the night? Do you want to come again? he'd always just want to give them girlfriend roles immediately. Will you cook for us supper? Will you oil my back? Like such things. And the women were just like, yeah, okay, this.
So it happened more than once?
It happened more than once, more than 5 times as well.
And how did this sit with you, like being intimate with another woman?
It wasn't sitting well with me. I'd complain and complain and complain. And each time I complained, Bumpy would be like, you're just not being a source of peace. Honestly, you're not being a source of peace. And I'm like, what does a source of peace mean? I'm just complaining about the things you want us to do and they're not sitting well with me. It doesn't feel like this is something I want to do the next one. It got to a point where he'd take my phone, enter Tinder himself, and talk to the women and plan those things. So I'd get home, say from work, I've gone back to my pet sitter, and he says, are you coming over today? I'm like, yeah, I'm even just gotten home. I want to carry the things over and come. And the woman would be there. And I was like, wow, okay. So after a few times of that happening, one day I just sat down and told him, this can go on. So I want to leave. I want to leave this relationship because it seems like I'm bending and bending to do the things you want. And at that time, we're having so many threesomes that I cannot keep count, one. Also, he's still cheating with other women. So I'm asking him, it seems like you're a man who does not get satisfied. There's no way you'll have threesomes every other weekend and still cheat. So he cheat, and I'm just like, I can't keep up. So on the day that happened, 2 weeks later, he tells me, how about we move in together? Instead of me doing shopping in your house or you paying rent and all that, let's just have this house. And his house, rent was not paid because it was their house. So I was like, are you sure? And it came at a point where I wanted to move from my bedsitter to a 1-bedroom. So it's like, instead of looking for the 1-bedroom, the day you said you were moving, because I had found a house and everything, so I was about to go pay. He's like, no, instead, I found a lorry, you'll move your things to my house. I was like, oh, okay. And then at this point, my mom has stopped being bitter with Bumpy. Now they're being friends to a point where we can go out together, hang out together. So I was okay with it. I moved in. On moving in, I got pregnant, I think two months later. So I found out I'm pregnant and I've not even told my mom I moved in with Bumpy. So I'm just like, okay, so which one do I tell her first? So I first told her, oh, Mom, I moved in with Bumpy. And my mom is like, that's okay, but we need to do the traditional steps, at least just one before anything happens. And I'm like, why? Just in case. And I don't know, she always kept saying, just in case something happens, you need the men, like, wale wa baba wa boma, you see? And I was like, okay.
And by traditional steps, she means the conversations that happen to finalize a marriage in the traditional way. Okay, so the conversation of marriage between the two of you and your mom was already something that was in the air.
Yeah, it was always there. It's something she always asked. What's the end goal? What are you planning? When is it happening? And I'm like, I know I'm planning this. This is what we talk about with Bumpy. But now the when is on his end. So when I moved in, she just was easy about it, but insisted with the traditional men coming home. By the time I told her that, another 2 weeks later, I told her, Mom, I'm pregnant. And even her worry went through the window. She was now excited to be a new grandma. And now considering she raised me, I was an only child. So she was really, really excited. So she was really happy and now stopped worrying. It seemed like now once I've told her I'm pregnant, the planning of the traditional steps took a slow pace.
Oh, I would have assumed that
it would have gone faster.
It would have gone faster.
So it went for a slow pace for a while, just until her excitement ended. And then from there it was now, Baba Bumpy needs to come. We need to decide, all that. So in a span of a month, it happened in October. The men came, the dad came, the parents and all that. They got to meet my family and that happened. And that was beautiful. We went back home now to our marital home and things went well.
Was his mom more
warm
towards you?
Yeah, she had changed. She had become very fond of me. to a point where she would call me, send me for errands in town. We became very good friends eventually once she got to understand my side of the story and my mom's side as well. Yeah. And then as pregnancy grew, my pregnancy was the most beautiful. I had no morning sickness, no nothing, no cravings, no nothing. I was just a normal person with a growing belly. And my tummy did not show until it was 7 months. So all through, I'd work, I'd do my jobs very well, I'd do everything. And then there was this one point I remember we were being intimate with Bumpy. And I remember telling him, I'm feeling very uncomfortable, very out of breath. And intimacy just doesn't sound exciting as it used to be. This man looked at me with a straight face and told me, if that's the case, how about unitafutie msichana nitakuwa nalala na yeye while you are in your last months of pregnancy. What he said is, at this specific moment, what I told him, his reply was, how about you find me a woman that I can be intimate with in your last months of pregnancy, since you're not able to be intimate with me as your husband, because I have needs. I looked at him baffled. I'm like, wow. And he laughed and brushed it off and he left. The thing is still ringing in my mind. I'm like, why would he say that? Since he brushed it off, I thought he just said it. So 2 days later, I addressed it and he's just like, no, it was just a thought. It would be nice and all. In the process, there's a friend, I don't know if I should call her a friend, but there's this person that was really into Bumpy and really into me. And Bumpy was also really into this lady, but I wasn't. You see? And this specific lady, we had lost touch, but she wanted to come back into this dynamic. So she was looking for me in social media, looking for Bumpy on his pages and all. So she found me and she's like, oh, I want to visit you guys. Did the relationship move to the next level? I'm like, yeah, we got married and I'm pregnant and I'm almost due. She's like, oh, perfect. Let me come and help.
Was she one of the ladies that you'd previously had a threesome with?
Yes. So at this point, and I explained to her, now we're not doing the threesomes, so are you still okay visiting? She's like, yeah, I just want to visit, see how you're doing, so because I still consider you as a friend. I'm like, cool. So she came. She visited. I'm there in the kitchen, because when she came, I was already in the kitchen. So I've gone back to do what I was doing in the kitchen, and I've left her with Bumpy. I come back and they're all over each other, and I'm like, what am I seeing? And they do not even seem startled or baffled by the fact that I've walked in. They just continue with whatever they were doing. And I'm just like, okay. Then I went back to the kitchen, finished what I was doing. At this point, I'm crying. Bumpy came to the kitchen. He's holding me and I'm like, don't touch me. Just don't touch me. Thank you. And he's like, why? I'm like, because, once we got pregnant, we had a rule. The pregnancy was like our clean slate. The baby is not here and you've already gone back into things we made a rule a few months ago. How are you going to manage with a whole child in our lives for the next 25 years?
What was the rule?
The rule was no more women and no more threesomes. We are going to go back into a normal family dynamic. No more sexual experiments. That was the rule. And that rule was one that he gave, actually. Yeah. So I was very surprised that he'd go back on something he said. And he's like, yeah, I know. But he starts to justify. He's like, but she came, her tits are showing, she looks all sexy. And I'm like, oh, interesting. Okay. I served myself my food and went to the bedroom, watched my movie, and just operated as though they were not there. He came and he's like, it's okay, I've told her to go home. And I'm like, you seemed excited. She was here, so just stay. I'll be fine. I locked the room. He thought I was joking. I locked the room and he wasn't able to enter the room and access me. The morning I woke up, went to work. I think it was my last day of work because my due date was really approaching. But this girl was still there. She was asleep on one end of the couch and Bumpy was on the other end of the couch.
What do you mean there? When you woke up the next day to go to work?
She was still in the house.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
After I've been told that she left. So I was very surprised. I was like, oh, interesting. So she sees me, Bumpy sees me, he's awake, and he's like, you locked the room. And I'm like, yes, I know. The girl is like, I'm sorry. Bumpy told me about the argument you have, and I'm sorry I went against it. I'm like, you're sorry because Bumpy told you. I also told you before you walked into the house. So you respect nothing about me or about Bumpy.
Well, what did you think would happen if you had her over? Do you genuinely think that she was just coming to see you guys, see how you guys are doing?
Genuinely, yes. I just expected her to be a friend and to take what I told her as that. So I genuinely expected her to come see me pregnant, I don't know, help around the house and leave. But that's not what happened. But later on, I came to know that Bumpy actually found her on social media and told her that I was okay with the threesomes. So she came knowing what Bumpy told her. And what I told her about we're no longer doing threesomes, the moment she told Bumpy about it, Bumpy was like, we've just spoken about it and we are go. So she came knowing that our threesomes and that whole dynamic is a go. So she just came and picked it up, from where she left. But from my reaction, she now knew something was off and she was willing to now leave us alone. And I was like, since Bump is the one who's giving us go-aheads around this house and I have nothing to do with it, let him decide. As for me, I have to go to work. I went to work. I moved around my day very well. I came back home and she was still home. And me and my hormones, I just wanted to be in my house with my husband. I just entered the house and asked, why are you here? Is what I asked her. Why are you still in my house? Bumpy's like, why are you talking to her like that? I'm like, because she's in my house. She is a guest. She needs to leave. She's like, oh, Bumpy told me to stay. I'm like, I'm the woman of this house and I've told you to leave. I took her clothes, threw them across the living room, and I'm like, leave right now. My kid was around 7. And she's like, I live very far. And I'm like, I don't care. Just leave my house now. Bambi is like, no, it's okay. Let her spend. And then she can leave in the morning. I'm like, you know what? That's what you want. I will go to my mom's house and you will stay here with your guest. And in the morning when she goes, you will tell me, your wife, if you want me back into our house. And he slapped me. And I and the lady all looked at him like he was crazy. This lady just took her clothes and left. And I was like, oh, now you're slapping me in front of another woman because I'm asking the woman who's not your wife to leave. And he's like, yeah, because you and this pregnancy, all you've been doing are things that you want. And I'm like what, for example? Because the only thing I've told you right now is I want the woman gone, but you seem not to want her gone. He slapped me again. And I'm like, okay, I think Bambi, something's wrong with you in your head. Because you can clearly see that I have your child in my tummy, right? And I feel like he was in a trance of anger. The moment I said, I'm having your child in my tummy, I'd see him like awaken from something. Like he'd shake his head like he's just waking up from a trance. And I asked him, are you okay? He's like, I'm so sorry. And at this moment, I don't even want him to touch me. I went to the bathroom. I showered. He wants to get into the bathroom with me. And I'm like, don't try me. I go, I oil my belly. I do what I always do. Then I use the laptop. On using the laptop, I open WhatsApp. Like there was an icon there. So I'm just opening it just to check if it was my WhatsApp because I was also using the laptop prior. And to my surprise, it was his WhatsApp. Still flirting with his baby mama. Still flirting with another woman. And people he used to train when he was employed. And there were a lot of nudes. A lot of thank you for coffee. It was nice spending the night with you. And once I looked at those chats, I was just like, this is the night he told me he had a boys thing. This is the night he said he had Bible study. This is the night he said he had a business trip. All that. All could now see them in conversations. I didn't talk about it because I also have very bad anger and I tend to talk very, very bad when I'm angry. So I was just like, you know what, let me sleep and I'll talk about it in the morning. In the morning, it's calm. He said, I'm going to the gym, I'll be back. He comes back and I want to address it. And I couldn't keep cool, and I'm like, you are crazy. You're about to have a child. You're still talking with your baby mama. And this other woman that we handled a few days ago, why are they still recurring? Why is this woman recurring? Why is your baby mama still somebody you're flirting with? What's going on? You're married. You're getting a child. So what's going on? It's like, no, since you didn't want me to be intimate with other women, I just thought maybe talking to them is not harm. And I'm like, since when? Show me where. I'm like, no, this is not something I'll tolerate. I don't want this. Give me your phone. I want to address everybody. I'll send them messages. He threw that phone across and it hit me straight on my forehead. And I was like, oh, so we are still hitting me and hitting now me with things interesting. I was like, I left and I told him, you know what? Continue with your women. Actually, seems you're happier when there are very many women. That's where you prosper. And he was like, okay. He seems he wants to talk about it. I did not want to talk about it at that specific time. So what he did instead, he pulled me by my locks, dragged me from the bedroom across the floor till the sitting room and put me on the chair. And I'm like, I said I don't want to talk about it now. You also tell me when you don't want to talk about things, I should understand. Here you are pulling my hair. For what reason? I won't talk about it right now. I value my marriage. I'm like, it doesn't seem like that on text, but I don't want to talk about it right now. He hits me. He strangles me at this point, and I can tell him, Bumpy, I cannot breathe. So I managed to kick his chest with my foot, and he fell. And I'm trying to catch my breath, and I'm like, are you trying to kill me? Because you're strangling me. I'm pregnant. I'm not understanding what war specifically do you think you're going to be winning? I'm pregnant. You're going to win anything you do right now. And again, I can see him getting out of a trance, like he's shaking his head, he's scared. And he starts immediately, sorry. And I'm like, I don't want your sorry. This is something you're doing now. And for the next 2 weeks, he's the most sweetest, most amazing human being I've ever met. He felt like the first person I met in the beginning, years back. And I was happy, and he'd always validate me. It will never happen again. It will never happen again. It will never happen again. And I was content. So this one specific time, we were sharing the laptop. I still go into the laptop. I'm writing a document because my assistant is at work. So I'm supposed to write documents for my clients for us to get paid. So I'm on the laptop. I'm now trying to connect my WhatsApp with WhatsApp web on the laptop. And I see his WhatsApps. And I can notice that there's a woman he's been clearly talking to that is clearly pregnant with his child. And I was trying to collect my jaw from the floor. I was angry. I immediately start crying, and I'm like, why? I had very few weeks to delivery, and it's not making sense. He comes home, and I'm asking him, what's the meaning of all this? I need an explanation. He opens his mouth and tells me that woman was depressed, and I was just acting as a father figure to her and the child she's about to have. And I'm like, wow, is that why she's asking for your names to put in the birth certificate? Is that why she's saying our child? Is that why she's asking when will you take your dad to her house? Is that the reason? He gets mad and punches. There's a mirror we had on the wall. He punches that mirror. He starts bleeding. At this point, I think I was so used to it. I just look at him and I'm like, another dent. Let's see who'll pick it up this time. He had a bike, so he'd take the car keys and leave. And for once, I didn't stop him. I actually gave him his other riding gear. I'm like, here, please go. Because this is what you always do. He left. I did not pick up any glass. I left them there. So when he came back, he found them there. He cleaned them up and he came to the bedroom. He's like, you didn't even call me to get to know where I was. And I'm like, what for? Why would I? Why would you bang the mirror, break the mirror, and then come? You've left at a point where you know you have done something wrong and then you want me to now be concerned. It's like, if I leave, sometimes I might get out and get hit. And for a brief moment, I replied. I told him it would be better rather than having you around this house with all that you're taking me through. I had approximately 3 weeks to deliver. But according to when you go to the doctor and they give you that due date and all, it was actually supposed to be a month and a half, but I gave birth 3 weeks later. So in the 3 weeks, he was good. He was very good. And now what happened is, you remember the woman who was in the house that I came home to that was still in the house, and I asked why hasn't she left yet? One day she came home. Apparently, Bumpy talked to her because Bumpy could not get through to me. I had gotten to a point where I had a wall. I didn't care about him, what he did, what he wanted. I just follow what he said. I was like, we're going to the market. I'm like, okay, let's go. We're doing this. Okay, let's go. I was there. I never questioned. I never did anything. So Bumpy was worried. So Bumpy called this lady, and this lady started talking to me. So instead of calling me on phone, what she did is she came home. Bumpy was not home, but she was. So I asked her, why are you home? She's like, Bumpy told me you're not okay. So I'm here to figure out why. I'm like, one, you're the reason number one among the reasons we're not okay. Came to our house. You are touchy with my husband after I specifically told you something. You didn't have the courtesy to come ask me if that's how it is. You just took Bumpy's side and went with it. And she says, in my defense, Bumpy is the man. I was like, okay. And she's like, but that was then. I'm here for you. I want to listen to you. And I told her, actually,
Do you know, I'm sorry, I'm in a bit of what was informing this structure? There was something behind it, like, this is the man, you have to follow this. If you're saying you did not grow up seeing this.
The structure was, and this is something Bumpy threw around in any situation, was you're raised by a single mom. You wouldn't know how households run. You wouldn't know anything about submission. And since honestly and genuinely, I did not know, because I was raised by a single mom, I did not see her submit to somebody, especially at an older age, to see how submission goes. I'd believe it. And he would always say, but I know submission, I know the role of a man, because he has both parents. So I was just like, okay, that makes sense.
I really do wonder about that, because I don't want to come off. I know there's people who actually live by that, where the man says the final word.
Yeah.
But I do wonder if it's right. I don't think you should always be fighting with your partner if that's the agreement you've come into. But at what point does the woman have a little bit of a say?
At that time, I did not know when the woman had the say, because according to him, who knows how submission works and how a household runs, he always said that the man has the final say. And since I always wanted to show that I'm a submissive woman and a woman who wants to be an added piece of value to him, I'd stick with that.
Did you not have any friends to talk to about what was going on in your marriage, in your family life, in your relationship?
I did. Funny thing is, yes, I did. I never said those dark parts. Why? Because Bumpy and Bumpy's mom always told me that marriage stuff are never told to anybody else other than the household you're in. So according to Bumpy's mom, it was, if you're not able to solve it with Bumpy, come tell me. So I tell her, yes. So I've told Bumpy's mom. Bumpy's mom is like, oh, you're the one with the temper, reduce your temper. So I'd always fit into that. So if I know I have a temper, instead of speaking when angry, I'd speak the following day. If I always want to nudge something, instead of always asking, I'd just wait until it's an appropriate time and ask Bumpy.
I think those are admirable traits, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think you should not speak when you're in a heightened state, and it's always good to kind of take some time before you retort. But there's some dysfunction there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So that's what I always did. So every time he'd hit me, I'd go back and maybe say, I'm the reason. Why? Bumpy says I'm the reason. Bumpy's mom also says I added to the reason why Bumpy was hitting me. So I'd always try and find out why. And I came to understand when Bumpy said, you're not being peaceful, it's because I found out he was cheating. In his head, I was not supposed to find out, but I found out. So finding out, questioning him, wanting answers, wanting accountability and all that, to him was not being peaceful. But that I found out later on. So this lady has come home, and believe it or not, Jules, I specifically told this lady, Bumpy says he wants somebody to be intimate with at this moment that I'm not. Let it be. She's like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah. You're always here. You're always talking to Bumpy. Why not?
This is what you told her?
Yeah. Because now for me, what I was thinking is if I gave Bumpy one specific concerned person, the rest of the women would go. And I'd be able to control this woman. So in one way or another, I had the upper hand. I in fact, did not have an upper hand. So the baby came. She's been there 3 weeks. The baby has come.
What do you mean, living there?
She's been with us every single day.
Does she live there? What do you mean by with you?
She's there Monday to Friday or Monday to Wednesday.
Does she sleep in your
Yes.
matrimonial home?
Yes.
In whose bedroom?
She wouldn't sleep in the bedroom. Bumpy and I would sleep in the bedroom. She'd sleep in the mattress in the sitting room.
Okay.
She was there always. She would clean the house. She'd make me breakfast. She'd get me ready if I needed to go for a clinic, to make my nails. She was there.
You know why I was asking what was informing this? Because even as you're talking right now, it doesn't sound bad, but it's not something that you had agreed to.
Yes.
You're kind of doing this because your hands are tied. Because I know there are situations where, co-wives take care of each other.
Yes.
And it's something everyone is privy to. I know there are challenges there.
Yes.
Every side, everything. Monogamy has a flip side. Polyamory has a flip side.
Yeah.
Polyandry has a flip side. Like every side has a but.
Yeah.
But. So it's almost like, was Bumpy like, listen, I'm polyamorous, and she's going to come help us. Like, even when she's cooking, you're not saying, why are you cooking? You're only supposed to like sexually meet my husband's needs. What are you still doing here? Do you understand my question?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to understand what is this I'm listening to.
At this time, if she's cooking, I'm too pregnant to even stand on my feet. So I didn't mind. I didn't think about it. And then the funny thing is, she was there to satisfy Bumpy's sexual needs, but they were never, ever sexual in the 3 weeks that she was there until my delivery. Not a single day, because I was in the house all through, because I've taken maternity leave. So I'm there, I'm going nowhere. I'm swollen, I'm there. She was never intimate with him. But the thing is, she complained. She complained to me. She's like, why is Bumpy, even if I try, he always turn me down? And I'm like, I don't know. I honestly don't know. And it's not my place to talk to him. But I'd ask, do you want me to talk to him? And she's like, yeah. So I go back with a complaint I've been given by this woman to Bumpy. And Bumpy's like, no, I don't think I'm ready. But once I am, I know she's there. So I'm like, okay. So I asked Bumpy, you said you'd want someone. The someone is here. And you seem comfortable having her around. What do you want? She's like, no, since you're very much not able to do everything around the house, how about right now she just helps around? And I went back to this woman and told her exactly what Bumpy told me. And asked her, is that something you're okay with? And she's like, yeah. So that's the dynamic. That's what we had. So she'd come, go home to her house as she pleases. She'd stay over as long as she pleases. And even on the day that I went to hospital, now to deliver, she also was there. She took me to hospital together with Bumpy. And at that moment, of course, I'm not thinking about what they're doing at that point. I'm now here. It's me and my baby. My one role is to get this baby out of me safely and be also okay, you see. And that's what I did. Got into hospital, gave birth very well, my baby healthy. And on the day, I even called my mom, told my mom, your granddaughter is here. I also tried to get a hold of Bumpy, but since they had left hospital very late, I guessed he was asleep. So I called Bumpy and I couldn't get him. So I called this lady. I'm like, tell Bumpy his daughter is here. And since I was tired, I just hung up and went to sleep. They were also the first ones to come see the baby together. And I thought nothing about it now, because even after leaving hospital, my role was ensure you have enough breast milk, ensure you're eating enough, you're taking enough fluids. I didn't have time to think outside of that. So one day, my healing after pregnancy, after giving birth, was very, very fast. I had no tears, no nothing major. So one day, I'm asking Bumpy, we've gone for our check, the 6-week check. I'm good. So I ask Bumpy on our way back, when are we starting action again? It's like, the doctor has just released you. Just give it time, give it time. I also feel like you're very delicate. So let me understand you a little bit. And I was like, okay, makes sense. This whole time, this other lady is also still complaining they're not intimate. It's been now almost a month and a half. She's been home, no intimacy. And Bumpy made her vow, her faithfulness to Bumpy.
This is so bizarre.
So this lady cannot get sex anywhere else except from Bumpy. And Bumpy is not giving her sex. So she's wondering, okay, what am I supposed to be doing? And she didn't mind because she'd help around the child with my daughter. I never had to move. If my daughter cried and she was in the crib, she'd wake up, give me the child. My thermos was filled with uji, water, food, everything.
Was Bumpy and you catering to her financial needs as well?
No.
Did she have a job?
Yes, she worked online, so she'd work there, finish work, all that. She did everything in our household, especially after my daughter came. Everything.
Was she also around your age? Or older? Or more towards Bumpy's age?
No, a bit older than me, 2-3 years older than I am. So I never, at that point, as a new mom, I was like, she's helpful, because otherwise I'm sure at some point I'd have to wake up in case Bumpy has gone to the gym or the likes. So I didn't mind and I didn't think anything of it. So I just enjoyed that. But now the thing is, on days that I told Bumpy my friends, now my circle was coming over to our house to visit the baby, Bumpy would ask this lady to leave. So she'd leave. My best friend would stay over the whole week, help around and all. And then after, immediately my friend and my best friend leave, she's back. And back into the routine, back into doing whatever she was doing. So one day I asked Bumpy, okay, the baby is here, this lady is still here. You don't want to be intimate with me. You also don't want to be intimate with this lady. What's your deal? Bumpy's like, you know what? I actually, for a second, want us to start on a clean slate. And I'm like, what's your clean slate looking like? He's like, my clean slate looks like I want her to go. And I want this household to just have you, me, and my daughter. And I was happy. I'm like, finally, something that I'm okay with, comfortable with, something that is not me fixed in a specific cage. And that happened. But before Bumpy would tell this lady of, like, ask her to leave, because you just can't wake up and tell her, get up and leave. He said he'll handle it. So before that happened, I've been told we're starting on a clean slate. So it's this one specific Saturday. We've said it's going to be movie night. But I feel very tired, very sleepy. So I say I'll go to bed early. Sunday morning, I'm woken up by my daughter screaming. And I'm like, wow. I'm usually woken up by, if my daughter screams, one of them is Bumpy or the lady is waking me up to give me my daughter to breastfeed. None of that happened. And I'm like, maybe they're just watching a movie because it's Sunday morning. I go to the washroom. I go take water. I make some tea. And I'm like, hey, all these commotions, these people can't hear me. But I can hear the movie. It's like loud. So I go back. I breastfeed my daughter. And I change her and I put her down. So I go to the sitting room and I'm like, why can't you people hear me? Why haven't you heard your daughter crying? I open the door and it's this specific man that told me he wants everything in a clean slate, having sex with this woman on the mattress that's down there. I just walk in awe, look at him. I'm like, Bumpy, interesting. This is a clean slate. Nice to know. Close the door and go back, hold my daughter. I am crying, I'm angry, and I'm just like, you know what? It's okay. He came back a few minutes later, and I asked him, what the hell was that? What's going on? You're supposed to be asking her to leave, not be deep inside her. What's going on? With a straight face, this man tells me, I was thinking with my lower head. I'm sorry. I was like, okay, interesting. I did not talk about it again, but I did not let that man touch me ever again. My sexual switch just went all off. The lights were out. I did not want him to touch me. I did not want him to sleep next to me. It got to a point I didn't want him to even hold our daughter. And I'd tell him, I feel like you're just a dirty man walking, that nothing you even pronounce with your mouth is actually what you want. And I'd be very specific. You said you want to start on a clean slate. Your clean slate doesn't look clean, but that's on you. And that lady left. After a while, he noticed that I actually don't want to be intimate with him. But one specific day, I was having wine because the doctor said I can have some. I was excited. 2 glasses in, we got intimate. And I woke up and I immediately just felt a layer of disgust on me. And I just knew this is not something I wanted. I didn't talk about it. I just moved on. And I was like, let's just find it in us to forgive him and move on as well. And immediately after that, a week later, Bumpy was back to talking to his women, including the woman who just left the house. He's talking to her about his miserable being with me. He wishes that she was the wife because she seems more understanding. How I don't want even to be intimate with him and it's bothering him. How I'm nagging him and all. He had a lot of complaints. So I read them and every switch now in me started going off one by one. I was like, okay, emotionally disconnected, physically disconnected, anything. I was just going disconnected. So one day he wanted to be intimate with me and I told him I don't want. He got very, very mad. He pinned me on the wall. His hand is on my neck and he got intimate with me with like in that specific position.
Oh my God.
I just left, went showered and just moved on.
You mean he raped you?
Yeah, that's the word, right? And I was just like, okay. Next time he asked politely, can we be intimate? I'm like, no. Like, I honestly and genuinely don't want it. And I can see his frustration. He's like, now what do you want me to do? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, now at this point, my anger and my calmness, I just can't. I'm unable. So I tell him, you have so-and-so you can go to, you have so-and-so, you have so-and-so, and you have so-and-so. Why are you here? You complain to so-and-so and so-and-so about how nagging I am, how this and this and that. And since that's what they are, why not be with them? It's like, no, I want to be with you. But as usual, you're not a submissive person. You're not peaceful. And I'm like, and I won't be. If me being that means that you're allowed to talk ill about me and everything, then no. And I'll storm out. He came, pulled my hair, slapped me, punched me. And I'm like, why? And then at the end, he pushed me towards the wall that I hit the corner of the wall. So I had like, my head was swollen. And he apologizes as usual. And I also apologize. And that was a cycle for like 2-3 months. That's all we would do. I'd find out about a woman. He'd hit me. He'd apologize. We'd move on. Find out. Hit me. Apologize. Move on. That's what we did. One specific time, I remember I now needed to go back to work. Because the money he had apparently measured. And now he's telling me, oh, we can't afford a nanny, we can't afford this. And I'm like, I cannot survive without that nanny. Because being this new mom is not easy. I need that help. You're not always home. So it's not going to work. He's like, it's okay. So He's like, you need to figure out then how we'll pay the nanny. And I'm like, it's okay, I'll go back to work. So I started calling up my clients and I'd ask them, do you want my services back? Do you want my services back? I got my schedule full and I was happy. So I started going back to work. Me going back to work was a bother to Bumpy. It's like, oh, now you want to emasculate me. And I'm like, no, I've not told you not to look for a job. I've not told you not to look for something. I'm just going back to what I was doing prior to pregnancy and giving birth. So he's like, no, but now it means you're earning more, you're providing for us. And I'm like, it's okay, I'll do that until you are able to like come back and do that. And I left it at that. But now I came to notice one specific day he left and told me he's going to a wake with his best friend. A mutual friend of theirs had passed and they need to go. And I told him, it's okay. You need to leave. You've also been in the house with a baby. You've been hands-on a lot. Let me now bond with the baby. I specifically sent him money to go have coffee, have lunch, whatever he'll do with the boys. Because I know he's not been working and I'm the one who's earning in the house. And I used to do this a lot. It wasn't a bother for me. So once we did that, he left. And my intuition just told me, there's one specific lady we used to fight about a lot. My intuition just told me, I feel like he's with this lady. And the reason was because I asked him, communicate with me throughout, also just to get to know if I'm okay. I was like, you're leaving me with, the child was, I think, a few months. So I was like, you're leaving me with this child. Then the child is new to me. I'm also new to the child. Like, I'm not used to it by now. He's like, it's okay. He gets there and communication goes off. No picking of calls, no replying texts. And if a text it's replied, it's one word after 2-3 hours. And I was just like, this behavior seems familiar when it's with this specific person. I talked to a mutual friend we had with the lady I allegedly thought Bumpy had gone to see. And told this lady, I think Bumpy has gone to see so-and-so. And since you're closer to so-and-so, please just find out for me. You'll just have done me a solid one. Because I've been thinking of leaving this marriage and I'm just looking for strong reasons why. So this would be among them. She's like, sure, bet. She finds the information and she actually was sent a video of Bumpy in that woman's house, seated on her bed. I was sent, I saw it and I was like, okay, this is interesting. Kept quiet. Later on, as Bumpy told me, we finished with the boys, I'm on my way back. This lady that Bumpy was just from called me. She was like, your man was here, and I can clearly see we are always having a back and forth, because I've heard of you in the past, and I'm hearing of you right now, and right now I'm hearing it in different dynamics, and I'm like, what are the dynamics? It's like, now my friend has told me you're married to him, you have his baby, and like I'm like, yes. She even asked me, did you do anything to show you're married? I'm like, our parents met. His elders and my elders met. I feel like traditionally that's strong. It's like, okay, well, this is my man. And I'm like, yeah, okay.
Also, in her mind, that was her man.
Yeah. And I'm like, ask her why. And she tells me, this is my man because we've gone to Diani together. We stayed in Airbnbs for days together. Where were you in those situations? And I'm like, when did you go to Diani? She's like, this day to this day. And I'm like, I was told he was at work. When did you go to the Airbnb? This day to this day. And I was like, I had gone to my mom's. Like, oh. So every time he was going out for travel, it was with this lady. And anytime I said I'm going to spend time with my mom or sleep over at my best friends or something, he was also with this lady, or she would come home to our house. Yeah. And I was perplexed. I could not understand. Bumpy came home. I could see that the clothes that Bumpy had are the same ones I was shown for fact. I showed Bumpy what I had. Bumpy, but at the moment I was showing Bumpy the video of him in that woman's bed, he had changed, because outside unhanging the clothes, and our daughter was asleep. On coming back, he's changed because he was on a bike, so he's changed. So I was assuming maybe he felt cold, he needed to warm up. He came, he's changed, and I asked him, I show him, he's like, with a straight face, he told me, but that's not what I was wearing. I asked him, what do you mean? I saw you leaving and I've seen you come. I know what you're wearing. He hid the clothes because that lady had told him that I now know he was here. So he hid the clothes under the bed and took me till the laundry basket and showed me, here, I've not changed. I've just removed a hoodie, and he put another hoodie there. And he told me, but see, so you're always just being told something by other women and you're always believing it. And I'm like, on this one, no. This one is straight from my intuition and I'm not going to betray it. And then I told him that, and I'm like, if that's how you want to manipulate me, it's fine, but I know you're at this woman's house. And he goes ahead as telling me, we can call her. And I'm like, yes, take out your phone. Take out your phone. And I even have her number on my Truecaller. So I'll just search her name and I will call. And he slaps me. Not once, not twice, not thrice. It's just a series of slaps. And I'm like, why? I'm screaming at this point. The moment he hears me screaming, he closes the door and hides the keys. So I'm screaming. I'm like, why are you slapping me? He's like, because you're always letting other women tell you your insecurities have led us to this point. And I'm like, what insecurities? And he tells me, you're insecure about your new body, your tummy, you have stretch marks. And I'm like, so do the women you are with. There's no woman living here that does not have stretch marks. We grow. We are moving. We are evolving. We come with stretch marks. You also have stretch marks. So why? No, you're just jealous. You have a lot of insecurities. And I'm like, no, Bumpy.
Did you ever tell him that you have insecurities? Not that it matters, honestly, but like, did you?
I did. The first time I got my baby, I told him I'm not used to my new size.
And you're actually so petite. You're literally like a size 6, right? 6 or 8?
Actually, now I'm 10, 12.
Okay, yeah, but you're still very slim.
tight.
Yeah.
So prior, I was 4'6". I was a size 4'6", and now I'm up to 10, 12. It's something I was not used to. I didn't know what to do with a curvy body.
I hope you know you look so good.
Yes,
Sophia.
now I do. Thank you very
look
much.
So like my dream body is a size 10. What?
So I didn't know what to do with a small waist and a bum and hip. I didn't know how to dress it. I didn't know where to begin. And for the longest part, it wasn't because, not that I didn't know, it's because my husband that was supposed to validate, or I feel was supposed to validate my after pregnancy body, did not. Instead, he really body shamed it. It was, your stretch marks don't look good. They're too dark. Your tummy is way too dark than the rest of your body. Oh, those clothes are now way too tight. You can't do this, you can't do that. It was always something I couldn't do. My body was never the right body. However, the women he complimented and chose to be with were bigger. Way bigger. Which didn't make sense. So in my head, for the longest time throughout that marriage, I always compared and tried to fit in to this specific woman Bumpy had gone to see. That's what I tried to do. Dress, talk, act, everything. I really tried to be that in my mind. Maybe he'll see me. He didn't.